Modern still life photography. What can I say about it? Modern tabletop. It's not what it used to be. There was a time a long time ago with one light only, and you can still do that. You absolutely can. But these days, we're looking for other things and other ways to create shots. I'm using more and more lights now in my still life photography. I purchased some lights recently and realized after I got them that they're too powerful. So interestingly enough, in my studio, where I have lots of very powerful lights available to me, I've been doing more and more with one of those lights and lots of small lights, speed lights and things, so I can get the power down. Yes, there'll be a time when I switch to a different brand of strobes that give me less power. Power I have. I have 3 Norman packs that are 2,000 watt seconds each. They still work, so that's 6,000 watt seconds of light. And they sit in a corner with dust on them. In film days, we needed it. In digital days, we rarely do because we're just not going down to f-stops like 64 and 90 anymore. So modern tabletop and still life photography means working with more concepts, more ideas, more things that are interesting, more things that may present to the client or to the viewer of the ad something beyond just the picture. We want to sell some sizzle along with the steak, as they say. Or maybe we want to sell all sizzle because the steak isn't really all that good. As we've all experienced, I'm sure, when we bought something and went, that doesn't look like that. Well, that's our job. We are commercial photographers when we're shooting product. I can't think of a single fine art product photographer. I can think of a fine art product painter. Can anyone remember a large Campbell's soup can? Yeah, so, but he was unique, and there's nobody else. So when we go into this realm of photography, tabletop, product, still life, this is what we're doing. We are hired guns. We have to approach the work from our client's perspective. And many of the times that involves working with an art director. Working with an art director means that someone else has come full circle through the process to come to you with this ad. Let me tell you how that works, because I've been the guy on the other side of the chair for many years. We have had 4 or 5 meetings with the client. They have not liked this idea, and they didn't like that idea, and they didn't like this idea, but this idea they like. So then we might have another couple of meetings until we've nailed down what they want. The last thing I want to do is come to your studio and have you tell me, oh, I don't want to do that. That's not your job. That's not your job. Your job is to do what I need to be done because I have just spent 200 hours, an untold amount of time in the agency getting this ad approved. We came to you because we want your unique spin on it. We want your unique lighting or your unique approach or your unique way of doing it, but that's the ad. Are there other ways of doing it? Absolutely. The higher up the food chain you go in photography, the less restrictions are put on you. Sometimes they'll come to you and say, here's our concept, and we really want to execute that concept. That's great. That's not us. We're not there yet. There are some photographers who are. When you're first starting out, you're not that guy. You're not that gal. You need to serve their purpose. Now let's say while you're serving their purpose, you can also serve yours. Once you get their shot, once you get the shot that they have come to you for and nailed it to the best of your abilities, still bringing your sensibility to the shot, that's why they hired you, then you can say, hey, what if we do this or what if we do that? They'll love you for that. They'll absolutely want to work with you for that, for giving them options and giving them something they didn't even think about. Sometimes that's what ends up in the ad. They go back to the client and the client goes, wow, that's really cool, okay? Sometimes that ends up in the ad. Our job is to understand our techniques well enough, and this is where technique comes in, our techniques well enough to create what someone else wants us to do. For instance, one of the very first jobs I had after I moved to LA was a server a farm for a server company or a computer company named Wang. Do you remember Wang? Well, the server room was about the size of this studio, and it was about 60 degrees in there, and there were no lights, and they wanted a well-lit shot of the two people up front and the whole room lit up. And I was brand new photographer in LA, and I had 2 lights. And that wasn't going to work. So I had to, well, it wasn't going to work normally, so I had to figure out how to create that shot with 2 lights, because I couldn't say to the client, oh, we'll have to get together tomorrow and do it so I can go get some more lights. I was told it was going to be 2 guys standing by a computer. If I'd known it was a server room like this, I wouldn't have taken the job. I wouldn't have put myself in that position. But I made the shot. I got the shot. I ended up scrimming a light across the ceiling and letting the light come down. I always carried high-speed Ektachrome with me. I basically got the shot. As good as I could have gotten the shot with 2 lights. Could I have done it better with 6? Yes, but I got the shot and they liked it and moved on to the next job. Wang, unfortunately, did not move on to the next millennia, but that was in a very tall building in LA. I remember that. I also did a shot in a place where there were diamonds. We had to shoot a pound and a half of diamonds. And while I was, when they asked me how long to go and that it would take to do the shot, I said it will take, well, I said take about an hour. When you're dealing with diamond merchants and all that, an hour means 60 minutes, not a minute longer. And as we went into the building and came out of the building, we were scrutinized by, or actually as we were shooting, people with guns were standing around us. You know, basically they took it real seriously. And that pound of diamonds had to weigh a pound before any of us were leaving. So 1 diamond off and no one goes anywhere. You got to be able to make that shot, and you can't get into the situation there and go, oh, can I run down to the car and get some? No, you're done. You're in there for an hour. Even if you finished we finished in 45 minutes and sat for 15 because an hour meant an hour. So technique becomes really, really important. How to get the shot in the time frame you need to do it is important. Sometimes we can take longer. Sometimes we take shorter. It's the same with editorial people photography. You never know with editorial. The other thing I love to shoot is people, and you never know. You get on a shot, you may have 30 minutes, you may have 2.5 minutes. So it all really comes down to technique and preparation, being prepared for everything that could go wrong. The longer you're when you first start out, you really can't be. So I want to caution everybody. Don't wait until your redundancy has been redundantized.
That's a word.
Do you like that one?
That's a word.
Redunticized?
We'll take it.
We'll have to. We'll use that one. You can't wait. You can't say, "Well, I can't go do a job because I don't have a second body." Yeah, you can. Roll the dice. How often does your body break? Okay. Don't put up roadblocks for yourself. When you're working with art directors, they're people too. They understand things like that. Just get as much redundancy and preparation as possible. Art directors all have different personalities. I'm one of those people, I love art directors, of all personalities. There have been art directors that I've worked with that I wanted to strangle, and I'm sure there's art directors out there who would have wanted to strangle me. But the job is we're all working together to create a really good image, and an image that we're all proud of. And I really like working with that collaborative team. Find out what they're all about. Find out what they want to do with the picture and ask questions. I cannot emphasize more how important it is to ask questions. When someone is on set with you, what do you want to do with this shot? How are we going to use this shot? Are we sure we want this white background? Are you going to ever use it as a bleed? The more questions you ask, the more involved you are with it. And you know what? If they don't want a whole lot of questions, they'll tell you. They'll say, well, let's just shoot this. You pick up on that and you move on. But questions are great. When I get a first call from an art director or photo editor, usually in my business, a graphic designer or an art director, when I get that call and they say, we'd like to talk about a job, the thing I ask is, what's the job for? What's the time frame? What's the concept? What's the last thing I ask? What's the budget? It's the last thing. Because for me, it's the last thing that I'm considering. I don't know if that budget's worth it or not until I get all those other questions answered, right? Oh, it's a 2-hour job, we're going to shoot a product, we're going to do this, what's your budget? It's this much money, that makes sense. Or it's a 2-hour job, we're going to do this, what's your budget? And you kind of go, oh, that's, for that kind of usage, that's way low, and I can then have a bargaining position. It once happened where I asked the right questions, and the call came in from New York City. I saw that on the little caller ID. Remember caller ID? The little caller, it's 212. Answered the phone, and it was a art director for a book publishing company wanting to know if I could shoot an author living in Scottsdale. And this was way early in my career, and I was, well, yeah, I'd love to photograph the author. She said, well, how much will that be? And my brain just shut down. It's like you have a little blue screen of death. Brain was like, she goes, we usually pay $2,000 for this shot. Okay, this was 1972, $2,000. Yes, I said, yes, that would be fine. Then she said, does that include European rights? She goes, usually we pay $5,000 for European and domestic rights. Is that okay with you? Yes, that'll work out just fine. I hang up the phone. A day later, I go and do the shot. A week later, I get a check for $5,112 for film and processing. It was a long time until I got another call like that, but that one was good. Asking questions. She asked me. I made more money. I didn't even know what questions to ask. So sometimes we got to educate ourselves. You don't have a path to the big leagues like we used to. The path to the big leagues used to be assisting. You go and assist. In every major city, every major photographer in that city would have 1 or 2 assistants, freelance assistants all over the place. These days, fewer big-time photographers have assistants in my town. I don't have a full-time assistant anymore. Dave, the other guy that shares space with me, he used to have 4. He doesn't have one anymore. He has a part-timer for shoots. Ken doesn't have one anymore. He has a part-timer just for shoots. For the rest of the time, it's all digital. And whether we send it out or do it in-house, it's all digital. So that's changed. Assisting was never about learning to light. I hope to tell you it was never about learning to light. Assistant was learning how to deal with art directors, and learning how to deal with budgets, and learning how to deal with cranky clients, and learning how to deal with designs and project and work orders and POs and getting props and being prepared. That's the stuff they can't teach you in school. They couldn't teach you in school because it was different every single day. And so what you learned was to essentially roll with the punches. A challenge comes in from here. You've handled enough challenges to figure out a way around it. Get it done. Working with art directors is always going to be a challenge because you got 2 creative brains in the room, and you're going to have to work around it and come to terms. I love to come to terms with other creative people because we get something better. Worked with an art director once who was, was one of the guys I wanted to strangle. He really pushed me, and there would be times when I'd go home and I'd just be so mad. But when the shot would come back and I'd go, you know what? He was right. He pushed me, and he made me a better photographer. Became a very good friend of mine after that because I realized that sometimes you need somebody to kick you just a little bit, I was happy at 90%. He wanted 92. And he pushed me and pushed me until I got to 92. The nice thing is I didn't ever go back to 90. I kind of, you stay there. You just keep working that magic number. So it's a different experience. When you're working with art directors, I like to make personal contacts with them, and I like to send them personal notes. Yes, it's the day of email. Yes, it's the day of text. For me, it's still the day of, here's a photograph I did, put a little note on the back, thank you very much for the job. I like to get a photograph of the art directors I'm working with, maybe put it on a blog, let them know. What happens when you put an art director's picture on your blog and talk about the great, neat shot that you did? What do art directors also have? I'll bet you they have Twitter accounts. I'll bet you they have Facebook accounts. Bet you they have blogs, things that they do, and you just blog them. They may blog you. They tell their friends. It's a networking thing. Listen, listen, listen. Ask questions and listen, listen, listen. Questions on this? A little bit overview of working with somebody else who has an idea, because that's what we're working with sometimes in commercial photography. You don't get a toaster oven delivered to you and have somebody say, just do your most creative shot. Not usually in this business, not usually. Anything from the interwebs?
Absolutely, Don. A question from Larry G. from Tucson. For a current photography student, what do you suggest? Continue on with photography school or go the self-taught route? Just wanted to start out with a bang.
Oh, man, thank you.
It's Sunday,
Yeah, he wants to know whether he should go to photography school or go the route.
Well, he's already in photography
He's in
school,
photography
it sounds
school.
like. Current photography student.
Let me ask a few questions and hope, Larry, listen to these questions. If you're a doctor, do you have to have a medical license?
Yes.
You got to go to medical school, right?
Yes.
They ask you about that. As a matter of fact, they'll put you in jail if you don't. How about being an attorney? How about being a geophysicist? When's the last time any photographer was asked, where'd you get your degree? We can give you the shoe shot, but we need to see your credentials. Your credentials, your portfolio. Ask yourself this. I'm not going to get in the middle of the controversy. Oh, hell, I'm already in the middle of the controversy. Smack dab in it. I'm not a believer in photography schools because you don't need a credential. You do not need it. I think if you want to go and get it, go and get it, absolutely. But is it a must for working in the business? No, not at all. Not at all. As a matter of fact, sometimes I think it hurts photographers because you get 4 years of someone telling you what to do all the time. Do this assignment, bring it back in. And then you hit the real world and there's no one there telling you, do this, do this, do this. So I guess there goes my honorarium from University of Arizona.
Who needs it?
Well, a lot of people have good things to say about going to business school.
What's that?
Going to university and studying business
Oh,
for photography is always
yes.
a good idea. I think Jared Platt said that last time.
Did he?
Yeah.
And if you do go to photography school, you know who your best friends need to be? The guys going to design school. Forget all the photographers. They ain't gonna hire you. Hang out with the designers. Hang out with the future art directors. Hang out with the future photo editors. Those are the guys you want to be your buds. Okay? How's that for cold? Calculating. Anything else?
Yep, next question from Duke Park City. Would you present a storyboard to preview the concept they are describing when working with an art director?
Yes, absolutely. That's a mood. They're called mood boards. Sometimes storyboards are more of a video term, but mood boards, depending on the level of the client, yes. There's a big controversy about mood boards. Is it ethical for you to go on the internet and pull down a bunch of pictures of other photographers' work to put it there and say, this is kind of what we're thinking about? Is that ethical? I'm not getting in the middle of that one. That's the question that you and other folks need to answer for yourselves. I know which way I come down on it. But there is I've actually gone out and shot, put together productions to go out and shoot to show a client how I would do it. Yeah, absolutely. Depending on the bigger client. Would you do that for a $300 product shot? No. Would you do it for a 300 shot catalog? Yeah, I think I would take that gamble. I would go out and do a little bit of work and show them what I wanted to do and how I could present it, especially if it was something they were asking me for a more conceptual look. Absolutely.
Then a follow-up question from MCO777, and that's Mike in Tahoe. He's wondering if you have a product, let's see, if you ever add items to the shot to describe the product that's actually the product.
Yeah,
featured.
sure. Like, let's say you had a metal detector. You might take a metal detector and put some sand on the floor of your studio and have the metal detector there and have a few things sitting around the metal detector. You could have that, certainly, to help sell the product.
Okay, and in Mike's case, it was a widget that by itself doesn't tell a story.
Yes. Boy, we're going to jump real quick. I promise not to go more than 2 minutes. I have a philosophy about advertising, and that I've always worked. When I had my own ad agency, this is what I would tell my clients. Nobody cares about your thing. They don't. They care about what your thing's going to do for them. Sell that. So yesterday we shot a product sheet. That's a tech sheet we shot yesterday. That's fine. Here's our thing. But if you're going to sell that thing to the consumer, maybe you need to show them what it does, where it will save them time or something. So yes, if you have something and you can't explain it, with just the thing, you probably need to put it into some sort of context. Context is everything. Showing me a little iPod player, if I've never seen one, I'm really not sure what that is, right? You show it in somebody's pocket walking down the street listening to music, little music notes come out, you just described it. So you could sell, if you're a photographer who does both lifestyle and product, hey, possibility, right? 2 shots. In Project 52 or Project 52 group, we're giving them all the time, giving them layouts where they have to shoot the concept and the little bottle of pills sitting on the drop and pop thing. So yes, absolutely. Context is everything. Yeah.
You were saying that assisting or being an assistant is kind of going by the wayside. How do you suggest we start? How do you suggest, what avenue should we take if we're not able to be an assistant?
Well, I'm going to say this, and I'm not even going to preface this with at the risk of being self-promoting. I'm going to say that you have to get with professional photographers. Creative Live, we talked about it yesterday. For a $1,000 library of Creative Live is a 2-year internship. You just choose the instructors wisely in the areas that you want to learn. And then you go out and do it. Then you start to try to work with as many photographers as you can. Never, ever offer to work for free. Once you've gotten to a point where you've got a sellable skill and you're a photographer and you can go out and help somebody, try to get those freelance gigs. Never for free. I'm never going to. People come up, I'll assist you, I'll assist you for free. You know what? You don't know what assisting is then if you want to do it for free. You're obviously confusing that with shooting and hanging out and having a lot of fun. Assisting means 3 trips to the car to bring up 80 pounds of gear. Assisting means getting there early and getting things done and staying late while the photographer goes home. Assisting is hard work. So understand that and then go and find, there are assistantships out there. Would any of the people in this room be ripe for an assistantship? I don't know. I mean, once you clear a certain age, it's kind of like, you want the Coke, you go get it. So it's a little bit different, but you can get out there and work around them. Find workshops that offer you real behind-the-scenes education. Not pie in the sky, real behind-the-scenes education. And then just go out and do it. Yeah, it is tough. It is tough, Charles. I know Houston, Phoenix, we had a situation probably 15 years ago. I bet you there were 100 full-time assistants in Phoenix, and I'll bet you there's less than 25 now. That's the nature of everywhere, though. Okay?
Maybe one more question?
Sure.
So this is from, speaking of age, this is from Anna in Miami, Anna Adams. Do you think that age is important in this profession? Do you believe clients will hire a younger photographer because he or she may be more energetic and innovative, or would they hire someone with more years of profession on the back? Or is it even important at
Boy,
all?
this is Controversy Sunday, isn't
That's
it?
right, that's right.
She's asking, does ageism exist in this business?
Yes.
You betcha. You absolutely betcha. I can walk into Skateboarder magazine, I can have some really cool shots in my book, but I'm gonna guess they're not gonna hire me. I'm their grandfather, right? Granddad makes some cool shots, but they really wanna hang out with so-and-so. They're gonna come on a shoot with me, we're gonna hang out for 2 days, they may not wanna hang out with me. Yes, ageism definitely exists in certain areas. In product and still life photography, no. No. That's the cool thing about it. I'm really honest with people. You know, if you're 63 years old and you've been a truck driver all your life, you want to move to New York City to be a fashion photographer, wow, you've got a long, hard road ahead of you. You want to move to New York City and do product? Why not? Who cares? It's not glamorous. It's not hanging with the starlets. It's not all. It's, do you do good work? Do really solid, excellent work? That's what it's about. So ageism, yes, but probably not as much in this as I think other genres, maybe fashion or editorial or sports.